Okay, it's Monday, July 11th. It's about 45 minutes before the open. I just wanted to shoot a video why I'm looking to go short today near the open on Goldman Sachs. And there's actually a whole bunch of stocks that are showing some good setups starting today, but this one's a short setup. Just wanted to point out how the various time frames come together, how I analyze this stuff, and how you're consistent from chart to chart to chart. But anyway, Goldman Sachs, what I'm showing here at the moment is a monthly chart here. I'm going to change this to a weekly chart in a second. This is the daily chart and this is the 15-minute chart. So on the monthly chart, you can see we had a big red bar in June and we really haven't crossed above the halfway point of that bar to even consider turning the trend up. Of course, the trend really becomes up when we get another new high on the month. So we're not even there yet, but or anywhere close. But so my bias is still to the downside. You can see here, for example, in this month back in May, we kind of started to go above the midway point of the prior month. And I can show you, because I'm going to turn this to a weekly chart anyway, back at that time here, there was this 2-up week. So you would have been biased to the long side, but knowing you still really need to get above the high of the previous month to turn the trend up. But for this moment in time, if we look at the daily chart here, that's right in this area, there was a little long bias and you could have been trading intraday movements to the upside and on these couple of days. And then even the next week, as I'm looking at it, we stayed above the halfway point of that prior week. So you thought maybe we're continuing higher, but you could see there was really no signals here early that week. There was one little 2-up that failed. And once that failed by the end of the week, you kind of knew that on the monthly chart, you're still kind of inside of the prior month and the bias is now down. And then now we've stayed here to below the midpoint of that week. So there was a bias down this week, but you can see last week we did turn a little, even though the bias is down, we got a 2-down week. It turned a little green. So that means on the daily chart, we had a few days of rally in here. But look what happened on Friday. We had a big red bar. So the reversal is in place to go 2 down. And you can see we're getting that 2 down here pre-market before the open. So I know we're going to open below the low of yesterday. And as long as we stay above the halfway point of yesterday, then the bias is back down to take out this stop and this stop and this stop. On the weekly chart, which I wanted to get back to, we're already 2 down on the prior week, even though it's green. So yeah, if we go 2 up on this week, then I would reverse my position and look to go long and still know that, we have monthly charts that have to be taken out. But since the bias is to the downside, this 2 down week here, even though closed green, should continue down to this lower blue line to broaden out below this weekly chart. And then once that gets taken out, then we get that monthly chain reaction, to the downside, possibly to take out a whole bunch of other stops. But the bottom line is the bias is down. On the monthly chart, it's down. On the weekly chart here, you can see we're below the midpoint of the prior week, heading lower. So as long as we stay below the midpoint of this week to start the week and head lower, I'm looking for this, this broadening action to the upside now that we have 2 down on the week to kind of come all the way down to that lower blue line. That's why I marked it there. And I marked this red line to show that's kind of the halfway point of the prior week. As long as we stay below there, then I'm biased to the short side, on any given signal. And bottom line is I'm going to look for the 15-minute chart here to give me some kind of an opening that confirms, the downtrend on the day. So it's going to be some kind of 15-minute bar that either, fails to move up here for just a quick opening and then turns red, or it immediately starts red and I'm going to aggressively get short because I see these stops to be taken out down here. So there's a lot of time frame continuity, to the downside here in play. The main thing is with all that in play, I saw this big reversal day, at the end of last week. And that shows you as we were coming to the end of that week, we couldn't even get above the midpoint of the prior week. So that was the exciting kind of setup that I was looking forward to. And then now that I see we're opening lower here, before the market opens, I'm really excited to get short because we're already in the 2 down condition on the day, which means we project, towards all these lows. So, we'll see how weak Goldman Sachs wants to be. This is, a lot of ways interest rate driven stock. So you never know. It's banking industry. But again, just wanted to show you how it all comes together and then what you look for. And again, I'll look at that 15-minute chart, in terms of the way I like to view the opening, the high of the day forming kind of early in the session with kind of the opening 15-minute bar to kind of confirm that I'm getting, in any short position that it continues that way. And if it fails, then it's a very tight stop. And the only thing that can turn this up to me is if we stay above the midpoint of this prior week and get a 2-up week, then we would project up here, but I sort of don't anticipate that happening given the, everything I've talked about with the monthly, weekly, daily time frame, and then this pre-open. So short on Goldman Sachs today, that's the bias, and we'll see how it works out, near the open.